today I could show you 3 steps to work on your splits. So here we go. Step number 1, stretching the front of the body as well as the back of the body on your respective sides for your splits. So a couple of tips to stretch the front and back of the body. Here we go. So, of course, a nice classic lunge, and this really targets the back of the supporting leg. But if we come down deeper and bring the back knee down, and we really use our arms to stretch up, you can clasp your hands, you can place your hands behind your head and just lean back a bit. You can clasp your hands behind your back and then pull your fists down your back thigh. This is so nice for opening the whole front of the body on that leg that is back in your splits. So I'm really feeling along the top of the thigh, the hip flexors into my abdominal muscles. Because really when you're in the splits, right, your body is a 90-degree angle, so you really need a lot of length. So this is a really, really nice stretch. So from there, working into the back of the body, of course we can just sit our hips back, flex our front foot, and get into the hamstring that way. I personally find I get more of a stretch if I'm in a standing position. So just a nice parallel and really reaching forward from the hips, belly button into the spine. And you can use something for support. Nice countertop will do it, or the back of a chair, hand on the shin if you like, or fingertips all the way down. And again, from here, if you want to flex the front foot, and you can play with turning that front foot out and in, so you just get a couple different angles. And this will really help to stretch the top of the hamstring at the attachment of the base of the pelvis. Another nice way is if you have a trusty ball, something like a tennis ball or a lacrosse ball, something nice and firm. And we want to, as we're sitting on the ground, place the ball right, again, in that attachment area at the base of our pelvis or sits bone. So if we come down on the ground, there's a couple different ways you can get into this. So if we sit in kind of a double attitude here, I'm going to place the ball, if my front leg is turned out for now, just right under, again, the base of my pelvis, top of my hamstring. And you can just kind of roll it around a little bit just to get the muscles loose. It's nice to stretch in a turned out and a parallel version, right, buddy? So staying here, I'm going to stay with my back leg bent for now, and I'm going to turn my front leg parallel. I'm going to place the ball, again, under that top attachment of the hamstring, and you'll feel it. You'll feel the right spot. And even just right here, the hamstring muscle is lengthening up and over the ball. So this in itself is a nice stretch. And of course, if you like, you can inhale and exhale and just fold a little bit forward. And that, again, will lengthen your hamstring muscle just a little bit more up and over that ball, rather than pulling on it, right? Stretching the hamstrings is kind of a tricky and finicky thing, so we don't want to do it too much beyond its capacity. So using the ball is kind of a nice way to almost massage the muscle into the stretch. So that is tricks, or step number 1 for stretching the front of the back leg, front body, and the back of that front leg. Step number 2, we want to do active stretching. A lot of times we will just sit down or plop into a stretch and think, we'll just stay there forever. And that does have its benefits, but if we are looking at stretching to warm up for a class or during a class or for a performance or during a performance to keep our bodies ready. Sitting down and plopping in a stretch for a long period of time actually tells our muscles that we're done. It actually says it's rest time. So that kind of thing is good to do at the end of your class or performance. So we want to have a bit more of an active approach so that the muscles are working in a lengthening capacity and then a retraction so that they can get used to doing those movements, and kind of those fast twitch fibers are able to work still. So a couple ways to do that. We can just come into a nice forward fold, so hinging from the hips. I'm in a parallel position with my feet. And again, hands on something in front of you, and we're just gonna bend. And as I stretch, I wanna feel my sits bones really reaching up behind. If you can bring your fingertips down on the ground and maybe walk them a bit farther forward so you can really feel the tops of those hamstrings again. So bend and then really stretch. I'm gonna push my feet down into the floor in opposition. Even further is we can take it into more of a downward dog, so a longer position. And I'm going to float one leg up behind me. I'm gonna bring it in and then just push the sole of my foot up to the sky, and you can stretch the leg. This one is targeting more of the supporting leg. Yeah, so you can take a bend in that leg and then a stretch, a bend, and then a stretch. To target more of this working leg, I'm going to lower it down. I'm going to turn my foot out, and then I'm going to press up. So I'm going to press the pinky toe side of my working leg up to the sky. So then we're really getting into the glutes so that those are allowed to work, so that we're not only trying to achieve our splits on the floor, but in more of a split leap or grand jeté style as well. So that's important to kind of work the back of the leg as well. So that's more of an active kind of stretch. And one more version is if our body is a little bit closer to our thighs and more of a standing split position, like in yoga. So I'm going to fold all the way down and then just send one leg up. And then you can either bring it in an attitude and up and push it up, or again, straight leg. And you can bring a plie to that back leg. You can do like almost a développé and then float it down and then push the sole of the foot up to the ceiling. And then get your nose closer to the supporting leg. So that's really all-encompassing. We're really getting a nice stretch on that supporting leg and really working that back leg. So step number 2, more active stretching, really working the muscles into the splits. Last step, step number 3, is actually working in our splits. So whichever leg you are working on in your active stretching and lengthening the front and back of your body, we're going to work on that side. So I invite you to try and stretch in your splits in a parallel position. So we're going to start in that lunge again. So back knee is on the floor, hips are nice and square. From here I can take my fingertips down, send my pelvis back and flex the front foot. I'm going to support myself with my hands on the floor. Slide my heel forward and slide the back knee back. Now you might just suspend right here and feel a really nice stretch in the front of that back leg, yeah? And I'm going to stay on my back, the back ball of my foot here, yeah? So it could be a nice just supported position like this, and then eventually you feel that back of that front leg lengthening out. So we're again really nice and supported, using your arms. If you have some yoga blocks, I want to place them under your hands to stay supported. That would be really nice. But I'm trying to shine my back hip forward, yeah? So that I'm not opening yet. I'm staying really parallel so that again you really achieve that nice stretch. And then eventually you can come all the way down and then eventually turn out that back leg and maybe get more of a stretch this way by bending your back leg up. yeah? But for me, stretching in the parallel version really opens up that hip and the back side, and again, really lengthens under that front hamstring. So step number 3, stretch in parallel and really use your own body weight and just breathe into it. Never force yourself into a stretch if it feels really uncomfortable. Listen to your body. So try those 3 steps and let me know how it goes. Have fun.